All right, in finishing up these adjustments, we can see how they affect and how they can, in some instances, really, really dramatically change our original shots, our original exposures. So that's why I like to make duplicates, so I can see those changes step by step. So this was my original exposure, and I liked it. And now I'm just pushing it in different directions. First of all, getting the verticals to line up. And it shows how I can even make something that isn't lined up with those line up, kind of forcing it, and then getting horizontals to line up with distort. And do I like that exposure better, or do I like this exposure better? And this has a little bit more power to it, a little bit more oomph. Now I just have to decide, how can I make it stronger from here? Maybe without just adjusting horizontals and verticals. Maybe I don't like this little corner here. So I can hit Command T. I can hold down Shift and Option and kind of de facto crop it to pull that feature off of the corner, make it cleaner. Does that help or does that hurt? Maybe push it even a little bit more. So this is very precise, kind of exacting decision making. And you want to be aware of what the angles are doing and what the picture plane is doing, but I like those little triangles that are created now right at the edge. That makes it engaging to me. Okay, last step. Use adjustment layers. I could also just do direct adjustments to duplicates. Optimize the levels if I think it helps. I think I might brighten the midtones just a little bit on this so that those bricks show up nice and clear. And then layer, new adjustment layer, color balance, figure it out. Now the other advantage to using these adjustment layers as opposed to just doing duplicates and using direct adjustments is once I've made the decision for one photo that I think works, because I shot all of these with pretty much the same light conditions and the same camera settings, I could bring these adjustments, these same adjustments, over to my other shots and my future shots if I should want to. Now here I'm treating each photo just a little bit individually for its strengths, which I think is good. But let's say I didn't do those adjustment layers, and then I open up the last processed assignment I did, and I swoop it out like this, and I want these two to fit really well in a series. So I can take these two adjustment layers, drag and drop them on top of this, and it will adjust in the same way. And I can add or subtract from that. I kind of like this. So maybe that's what I do. And I can play with color balance with preserving luminosity, and then play with its opacity. See how much of that kind of starkness I want. Yeah, I think that works. So now I say File, Save As. This is going to be Carl, Assignment 8, 3 processed to the desktop. And we'll finish up now. And now I save it as a JPEG. Just have to wait for it to save as a Photoshop file. Then I can take my JPEG, bring it here, and then I want my original exposure. Bring that to the desktop here. Now you might process it up and then decide, well, that's too weird, that's too much, that's too crazy, and then step it back. That's fine. I just want you to be aware of the things you can do. And so this is my finished portfolio of shots. How do I put them into Dropbox, not Dropbox, into PhotoBucket. Sorry, I don't know where my mind is today. So we go to the right folder. It's assignment 8, the assignment 8 folder. We don't want to just put them up to the bucket, right? So anything floating in the bucket needs to eventually get organized into the correct folder with your name. So this is assignment 8 under photo assignments. And I'm going to click upload here because that forces me to title them. And it's very important you title them. And then I just grab them all from the desktop, all these JPEGs, drop them in. And now the titling convention is going to dictate how they show up and in what order. So this is the hardest part. I take my first exposure, Carl 1, and this is unprocessed, so it's 1A. And then my processed version with the verticals, that's Carl 1B. Okay, and then for this, Carl 1A, and here Carl, 2B. Like I said, this is the most complicated part of the project. So raw processed. Carl 3A, Carl 3B, raw processed. And the more I look at this, the more I want these verticals, but I don't want that vertical. So I might go back a few steps in that one and see. But put them in, have the assignment submitted, and they will show up according to their title. And that way they'll show up in the right order. Unprocessed, processed. Unprocessed, processed. Unprocessed, processed. Yeah, maybe that's not so bad. All right. That's the exact same method that we will use for formatting and submitting assignment 9, which also deals with manipulations of zoom and proximity of your lens to your objects and clear lines of sight, but will be more playful, and it's going to manipulate scale and space, kind of perception games with photography. Until then.